I didn't knock. It was late. The office was half dark and smelled like stale coffee and cheap toner. I had the sales reports in my hand and figured I'd drop them off on Richard's desk before heading home. His door wasn't locked. I pushed it open without thinking and froze. Samantha was bent over his desk, skirt up, blouse undone. Richard behind her, my wife, and my boss. It didn't feel like walking in on a mistake. It felt rehearsed. She turned her head, saw me, eyes wide, lips parted, not in guilt, just caught. The folder slipped from my hand and hit the floor. Papers scattered everywhere. Richard muttered something and fumbled with his zipper. Samantha grabbed at her clothes like she'd forgotten how buttons worked. I didn't say a word, didn't scream, didn't lunge. I just turned and walked out. The door shut behind me like a trap resetting. No one came after me. I made it down the hallway on autopilot. Lights overhead buzzing. My vision tunneled. I don't even remember the elevator ride. Just the sound of my heartbeat pounding behind my ears. By the time I got to my car, I couldn't breathe. I didn't go home right away. I parked outside a liquor store and stared through the windshield until the world stopped spinning. Went in, bought a bottle. Something strong. Something stupid. I drank half of it in the driver's seat. Didn't taste it. Didn't care. All I could see was her back arched over that damn desk. Like it belonged to him now. When I finally walked into our apartment, it was past 11. She was there. Showered. Calm. Eating cereal like it was just another night. I didn't ask anything. She didn't say anything. We coexisted like strangers. She even offered me a bowl. I shook my head. We went to bed. Didn't touch. Didn't speak. She fell asleep. I stared at the ceiling. Next morning, she played music while getting ready. Wore that black dress that always got attention. She kissed me on the cheek before walking out the door. Like nothing had changed. Like I hadn't seen what I saw. At the office, Richard was smiling. He nodded at me like we were old friends. Like he hadn't just obliterated everything I'd been trying to hold together. Everyone moved on like the world hadn't cracked open. Except me. By lunch, I hadn't eaten. By 2 p.m., I was staring through spreadsheets, seeing nothing. Brian Robinson, the guy with too much confidence and not enough filter, leaned over my desk. "You look like you just found out Santa isn't real," he said with a smirk. I didn't respond. He shrugged and walked off. That night, I didn't go straight home. Again. Bourbon. Dark bar. No music. Just a stool and enough alcohol to make the memory slow down. When I did get back, she was asleep, wearing my shirt like it meant something. I woke up before the alarm, stomach sour, tongue dry, and head fogged from the bourbon I never planned to drink. She was already in the kitchen, dressed like she hadn't ruined everything. I sat across from her at the counter. She sipped her coffee like it was a peaceful Sunday morning. No tension, no fallout, just caffeine and routine. I didn't say a word. Neither did she. We drove to work in silence. Her perfume filled the car. That same jasmine scent I used to love. Now it just made my skin itch. At the Oracle building, she got out first. Heels sharp on pavement. Confident posture. Like nothing ever happened. I waited a few extra minutes before going in. I heard her laugh near the coffee machine. Flirty. Warm. Polished. It grated on me. She laughed like she'd won something. Around lunchtime, she texted me. "Can we talk tonight?" I didn't answer. That night, she waited until after dinner. We sat in the living room. TV off. Room quiet except for the ticking clock we bought last year on a weekend trip I thought meant something. She crossed her legs like she was giving a presentation. "It was a mistake," she said. I didn't speak. A one-time thing. Still nothing. I wasn't going to tell you. It didn't mean anything. My jaw tightened. She leaned forward, exasperated. "Do you want me to say I'm sorry?" "Fine. I'm sorry. Are we done?" I looked at her. "You slept with my boss." She scoffed. "He's not technically your boss. You report to sales ops, not him." I almost laughed. Almost. She kept going. "I've been carrying this marriage. You don't chase promotions, Jim. You don't care about networking. You're too comfortable." I bit the inside of my cheek until I tasted blood. "And Richard?" I asked. "Was he your promotion?" "It wasn't like that," she snapped. Then quieter. "But he sees potential in me. That's more than I can say for you." She walked off after that. Didn't cry. Didn't apologize. Just left the room like she'd said something noble. I sat there, trying not to throw a glass against the wall. Later, I did. The sound of it shattering didn't feel as good as I hoped. By Friday, I was skipping meals and missing meetings. The whispers at work started, not about us, but about her. Someone said she'd been in Richard's office late again. Someone else said she was grooming the new reps on how to climb fast. I didn't ask. Didn't want to know. I spent most of that Friday staring at my screen. Brian showed up again. Sat down like we were friends. "You look like death," he said. I didn't respond. He leaned in. I heard what happened. My head tilted slightly. He kept going. "You think you're the first?" Klein's had flings with 2 others before Samantha. One left. One transferred. Neither got promoted. I looked at him for the first time. He smiled. "I hate people like them. You want to talk?" "Bar on 7th. First round's on me." I didn't plan on going. But around 9 p.m., I found myself sliding into the booth across from him. Beer in front of him. Bourbon for me. Brian watched me take the first sip. "You know what you are right now?" he asked. I didn't answer. Collateral. Career collateral. Stepping stone. You're the guy everyone forgets about while they claw past each other. I stayed quiet. But me? I've been watching. I've got eyes. I've got records. And I hate being stepped on. He leaned closer. "You want to fight back?" I didn't say yes. Didn't say no either. Just drank. He took that as a green light. After another round, we stepped outside. He lit a cigarette. Offered me one. I took it even though I don't smoke. "Why are you helping me?" I finally asked. He blew out a slow stream of smoke. "Because I want the corner office. And to get it, someone's got to go down. Might as well be the ones who played dirty." He looked at me. "And maybe you're not a weapon. Maybe you're just a witness. But either way, I can use you." I nodded once. That was all. Later that night, Samantha was asleep when I came in. I stood by the bedroom door for a long time, just staring at her back. She shifted once, muttered something in her sleep. I didn't care what it was. I was already planning what came next. Tuesday morning, Brian dropped a USB drive on my desk like he was handing off a sandwich. No names. No questions. Just plug it in when you get home. I looked at the thing like it might bite. "What's on it?" "Starter kit," he said, grinning. "You said you wanted to burn this all down. That's your match." Then he walked off like he hadn't just handed me a bomb. I didn't plug it in that night. Or the next. But on Thursday, I came home to Samantha laughing on the phone, barefoot in the kitchen, wine glass in hand like it was some rom-com moment. "I know," she was saying. "He's been weird lately. Probably suspects something. Whatever." She didn't even lower her voice when she saw me. Didn't flinch. Just kept pacing. I walked past her, went straight to the bedroom, and locked the door. I plugged in the USB. It wasn't blackmail. It was data. Slack conversations. Email threads. Room bookings. CRM metadata. Nothing illegal. Nothing hacked. Just what people leave behind when they think no one's watching. I clicked through it in silence. There was a message from her to another rep, Erica. He gave me access to the West Coast leads. Said I'm his quiet pick for Q4. Guess it pays to be persuasive, smirking face. Another one. If I land that summit seat next week, I owe him a drink. Or 2. Again, I didn't need to read between the lines. The lines were screaming. There was a calendar event. Private meeting, conference room 18D, 7:30 p.m. Attendees, Samantha Griffin, Richard Klein. Title, Projection Alignment. I sat there staring at the screen until my eyes burned. Then I closed the laptop and went to the kitchen. She looked at me like I was interrupting her movie. Something wrong. I didn't answer. Friday morning, I slipped the USB back to Brian in the break room. "You got this from open servers?" He nodded. "Nothing hidden. Just unprotected access." I handed it back. "There's more," he said. "But I need your help." I exhaled slowly. "With what?" She uses her Oracle laptop to check personal email. If we access metadata, we can pull attachment logs, calendar syncs, enough to paint a picture. "That's corporate property," I said, hesitating. "No," Brian corrected. "It's Oracle's. She just borrows it." That night, she passed out after half a bottle of wine. I pulled her work laptop from her bag, opened the lid. No password. Amateur. Her Gmail was still open. And there it was, an email from Richard. "Let's keep this between us. The committee's already uneasy about how fast this is moving. We'll talk next week." No paper trail. I didn't even read the whole thing. Just forwarded it. To Brian. On Monday, Brian came by again. No jokes this time. "We've got enough." I leaned back in my chair. "For what?" "A formal complaint. Conflict of interest. Ethics violations. They'll both get flagged." I rubbed my temples. "She'll lose her job." Brian didn't even blink. "And Klein." Depends how hard we press. I looked at him. And what do you get out of this? He gave me that smile again, the one that didn't touch his eyes. Opportunity. He's in my way. You're just clearing the road. That night, she tried to have sex. Slid closer in bed, touched my arm, fake soft voice. I turned away. She whispered, "What is wrong with you lately?" I didn't answer. Because I was done playing the fool. I was already someone else now. Midweek, an internal memo went out. Oracle is committed to ethical conduct and takes concerns seriously. All employee interactions must remain professional and within policy. Corporate speak for, we know something's going on. Richard looked nervous. Samantha looked like she was trying not to. At lunch, she cornered me near the elevator. You said something, didn't you? I raised an eyebrow. Said what? They're going through my emails. They asked about Richard. This is you. I shrugged. You always said I wasn't ambitious enough. Guess I'm just catching up. That night, Brian texted me. Stage 2 in motion. Keep quiet. I replied. I'm not a hero. I'm just tired. He answered with one word. Good. Later, in front of the mirror, I looked at myself. Dark circles under my eyes. Tie crooked. Shirt wrinkled. I didn't look like a man in control, but I didn't feel like a victim either. And maybe that was enough. The elevator was dead quiet that morning. Just me and her, standing 3 feet apart, saying nothing, but feeling everything. She wore red lipstick. Power blazer. Confidence like perfume. I wore guilt and caffeine. Oracle's internal investigation had started, and we both knew why. Brian had slipped an envelope under HR's door the day before. Inside, screenshots, calendars, forwarded emails. All anonymous. All enough. Titled, Breach of Professional Conduct, Samantha Griffin and Richard Klein. No signature. No warning. Just facts. By noon, Richard's door was shut. His assistant said he was in back-to-back calls. But I knew better. People were whispering. Coffee machine gossip was at full volume. She's in trouble. Him too. Someone turned them in. I pretended not to hear. Samantha found me by the printers around 2 p.m. We need to talk, she said, voice clipped. I followed her into the stairwell. No cameras, no ears. What did you do? She demanded. You'll have to be more specific. Her jaw clenched. I got called into HR. They're looking through my emails. Asking about my meetings with Richard. Is this your idea of revenge? I stared at her. I thought it didn't mean anything. She laughed, sharp and humorless. You're a coward, Jim. You couldn't even confront me. You're just trying to ruin me from the shadows. No, I said calmly. I'm just making sure people see who you really are. She stepped back like I'd slapped her, then walked away. The next day, Richard got called into HR. When he came out, he didn't look powerful anymore. He looked like a man who'd lost control of the room. And Samantha? She looked like she hadn't slept. Brian passed by my desk and murmured, cracks in the glass. He wasn't wrong. On Monday, she didn't show up. No call. No email. Just silence. Tuesday, she came in late. Pale. Hair unwashed. I overheard her screaming behind a conference room door. You promised me, she shouted. I'm not going down alone. Then quiet. Then, Dad, I'm serious. That night, she was home when I got back. Waiting. My father wants to meet, she said. I sat down, unbothered. He knows someone in corporate compliance. Says if I cooperate, he can make this go away. And if you don't? He walks. She dropped into a chair. Even he's ashamed of me. I didn't respond. She didn't deserve comfort. On Wednesday, Brian handed me a new drive. He tried to erase the logs, he said. But IT caught everything. It was worse than before. Late-night meetings. Shadow approvals. Her name on accounts she had no business touching. This is the nail, Brian said. They'll both go down. I closed the folder and just nodded. That weekend, she vanished again. I didn't ask where. Didn't care. Sunday night, she returned with puffy eyes and nothing to say. She set her purse down like she was moving in for the first time. I'm going to fight this, she said. I didn't look at her. I just turned on the TV. Monday morning, Richard was gone. No fanfare. No goodbyes. An email said he was transitioning to a strategic position in another region. Sure. Samantha stared at her monitor for 2 hours straight. Didn't type. Didn't blink. Brian grinned across the bullpen. I didn't grin back. At the elevator, she caught me. You happy now? I turned to her, cold. You made your choices. She clenched her fists. I needed that promotion. You sold everything for it. She blinked fast, fighting tears. You don't know what it's like to be a woman in this company. You're right, I said. But I know what it's like to be your husband. She didn't respond. Just stood there, watching me leave. HR called me in on Wednesday. Room 6A. Fluorescent lights. Neutral gray walls like a waiting room for judgment. A guy named Mark sat behind the desk with a legal pad and a plastic smile. We're just hoping to clarify a few things, he said. I nodded. Of course they were. He read off a sheet. There have been claims of emotional instability, possibly intimidation. Comments made in private settings that may have affected your spouse's work performance. I blinked. You're talking about Samantha? Mark didn't confirm. Just looked at me like a therapist with a stopwatch. I leaned in slightly. I haven't touched her. Haven't yelled. I've been drinking, sure. I've been distant. But I haven't done anything illegal. Would you say the relationship is strained? I laughed once. Dry. She cheated on me with our boss. I'd call that strained. Yeah. He scribbled something down, then said, thank you. And that was it. When I stepped back into the bullpen, Brian was already waiting near my desk. He didn't even ask how it went. She's playing the abuse card, he muttered. Didn't think she'd go there, but here we are. I sat down, stared at my monitor. I didn't lay a finger on her. Brian shrugged. Doesn't matter. In HR land, feelings are facts. We have to close this fast. He slid a folder toward me. What's this? Final play. Inside was a letter. Formal complaint to Oracle's ethics committee. Clear, direct, bulletproof. No names, no drama, just dates, logs, policy violations, breaches of trust. I read through every word. You already sent this? Not yet, Brian said. You okay with it? I stared at the page. She'll lose everything. Brian looked me dead in the eye. She already threw it away. We're just documenting it. That night, she was waiting in the kitchen. You talked to HR, she said flatly. I didn't answer. You told them lies. I shook my head. No lies. Just truth you hoped no one would ever hear. She crossed her arms. You're ruining my life. I stepped forward, slow. You ruined it when you climbed on top of Klein's career plan and thought I'd never find out. She flushed red. You don't know what it's like. To be humiliated? I cut in. I know exactly what that's like. Friday morning, the office felt heavy. People moved slower. Whispers got quieter. Richard was gone. Samantha was unraveling. She wore sunglasses indoors. Didn't speak during meetings. Spent half the day in the bathroom. By 3 p.m., Brian was called into HR. Then Samantha. Then silence. When he came back, I met him near the stairs. Well, he gave me a half smile. They're escalating. Third-party review. They'll clean house. And us. We stay low. That weekend, she packed a small suitcase. I'm going to my sister's, she said. I nodded. She hesitated. You really hate me that much? I looked at her for a long time. No, I said. I just see you clearly now. She left. Didn't slam the door. I didn't drink that night. Didn't sleep much either. Just stared at the ceiling and wondered when the pain stopped turning into numbness. It rained that Monday. The kind of steady, cold drizzle that soaks through your jacket and makes everything feel heavier than it already is. I came in early, hoping to avoid her. No luck. Samantha was already at her desk. Hair tied back. Eyes swollen. Wearing that navy blazer she always used for high-stakes meetings, like it could armor her against reality. She didn't look at me. I didn't expect her to. At exactly 10 a.m., I got the email. Subject, internal review appearance. Time, 2 p.m. Location, conference room 12B. Required, Jim Griffin. I stared at it for a while. Didn't click, accept. Didn't click anything. Just let it sit there like a storm cloud with my name on it. Around noon, Brian walked by. They're calling you in? I nodded. He tapped the back of my chair. Don't overthink it. Just tell the truth. I smirked. My truth doesn't help anyone. That's the best kind. At 2 p.m., I walked into conference room 12B. 3 people were waiting, Mark from HR, a woman from legal, and a third guy I didn't recognize, probably from corporate compliance. No small talk. No, how are you? Just a nod toward the chair. Mark started. This is a confidential conversation. You're not under investigation, but your cooperation is appreciated. Do you understand? I nodded. He continued. Do you believe your wife engaged in a personal relationship with Richard Klein? Yes. Do you believe that relationship affected promotions, access to data, or internal fairness? Yes. They asked about late meetings, power dynamics, even how often I saw them together outside of work. I answered everything. Steady, measured, empty. Then the compliance officer leaned forward. Do you believe your wife's behavior affected your mental health? I blinked. No, I said. My reaction to it did. He scribbled something quickly. 40 minutes later, it was over. No smiles. No handshakes. Just, thank you for your time. I left that room feeling like I'd lost something I hadn't realized I still had. When I got home, she was there. Duffel bag half packed. Eyes red but dry. I just needed to talk before anything else happens. I leaned against the wall. I'm listening. She took a deep breath. I didn't mean for it to go that far. Did you mean for it to start? That shut her up. I wanted to matter, she said finally. Richard made me feel like I did. I stayed quiet. Then she added, almost whispering. I did love you. I nodded. I believe you. But it's not enough. She turned her head, looked out the window like the answer might be out there. Then she said it. I think Brian set me up. I gave her a flat look. You didn't need help burning this down. You lit the match yourself. She didn't argue. At the door, she paused. I don't think you won. I shook my head. I didn't. I just stopped losing. She left. I didn't watch her go. The email hit my inbox on Thursday morning. No subject line. Just Oracle branding, a legal-sounding paragraph, and Samantha's name in bold. Effective immediately, Samantha Griffin is no longer employed by Oracle due to violations of corporate conduct policies. We wish her the best in her future endeavors. That was it. No drama. No explanation. Just gone. Richard Klein's name had already vanished from the directory. Rumors said he'd been relocated to Atlanta. More likely, Oracle quietly shuffled him out before anyone with a real title started asking questions. They always protect the bigger chess pieces. By lunch, a new name appeared in the org chart. Brian Robinson, Regional Sales Supervisor. No champagne. No party. Just a Slack message from him. Appreciate the support. Let's make Q4 strong. I stared at the screen for a second, then closed the tab. A few coworkers passed by my desk. One said, tough week, huh? Another, hope you're doing okay. I gave them both the same nod. Nothing else felt worth saying. Back at my desk, I packed slowly. Keyboard. Notepad. My mug. I wasn't fired. Wasn't suspended. But I'd already submitted my PTO. 2 weeks. Approved instantly. No questions asked. No one wanted to look at me too long anyway. At 4:15 p.m., I sent one last Slack. Out of office starting tomorrow. Stay sharp. Then I logged off. Stood up. Took one final look around. And walked out. The parking lot was quiet. I sat in my car for a long time, not turning the key. The silence wasn't peaceful. Just vacant. I wasn't angry anymore. Just tired. I drove west. No destination. Just road. Ended up near the coast. Found a cheap motel with a balcony and an ocean view. Didn't tell anyone where I was. Didn't need to. First night, I sat outside for hours. Whiskey in hand. Hoodie pulled tight. Phone off. The waves didn't say anything. Didn't need them to. Somewhere back in that glass building, Brian was probably climbing higher. Richard was shaking hands with strangers in a new office. Samantha was rewriting her resume and maybe rewriting the story in her head too. And me? I didn't know. But I knew I wouldn't go back the same. I wasn't healed. Wasn't whole. But for the first time in months, I wasn't pretending. And that was something.